Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for that really welcome introduction. I'm really honoured to support Scribefest and give you some of an insight into this very unlikely path that meant I ended up as the Member of Parliament for North Norfolk, and how I got here, and just really how my route was so similar to many people who are watching. I was once a local councillor and indeed have gone through those ranks. And really how it all started. So it really is wonderful to be able to talk to you. North Norfolk is my home. It has been for all of my life, and the Sheringham Shantymen are absolutely adored in my constituency. There they are standing on Sheringham Beach just now. And winning in 2019 at the general election was when I ended up, my watch, was when I ended up getting involved in mainstream politics when I won with one of the biggest swings in the country. My journey into Parliament was, I would say, pretty unconventional. I never set out in life to become a Member of Parliament, but it is a real privilege to be in this position, and I absolutely love serving my constituents day in, day out, and what has undeniably been quite a slice of history over the last few years with everything that we have been through and continue to go through. So for the 400 or so people that are watching, I just want to say that you are the absolute vital lifeblood of democracy. You are, in my view, some of the most important people in your communities, for the clerks and for the staff, and some of whom who are watching who I no doubt work with. You're the glue. You're the glue that holds parish councils together, the wheels that keep it turning, and ensuring that councils that you manage keep moving and doing the great work that I so often see. And then really to the councillors, people often forget so many of you are volunteers. You give up thousands and thousands of hours to help others selflessly because, like me, I guess, the very essence of what you do is because you love the community that is around you. And my only experience before coming into Parliament was really from people like yourselves. It was working in my local community and that sense of helping and wanting to give back, which drove me. And it's because of that feeling that back in 2009, which seems like a very long time ago now, I stood in the town that I grew up in, with Holt, just slightly inland from Sheringham, to be a town councillor. And I simply went into that because my stepfather at the time, who had been a local councillor at all different levels of parish, district, county, and even ran for Parliament himself back in many days ago, who sadly passed away now. But his essence was simply that he wanted to help people around the area with their local issues. And he instilled that in me and very much made sure that he wanted me to follow in those footsteps and make sure that I was there in that community to help people and shape the home that I grew up in. And I'm sure that resonates with many people watching. I never knew that that was really going to be a start of a journey to Parliament. It was never the remotest thought in a young, fresh-faced 29-year-old councillor that I would end up 10 years later in Parliament. But it was really 6 years later, through quite a different set of circumstances, that I ended up becoming mayor of my hometown. I then became a district councillor, and I then swiftly joined the cabinet on North Norfolk District Council when I was re-elected, and then I was re-elected and became the opposition leader. And I guess it was really from that platform that I was asked to run for Parliament, and the rest, as they say, is history. But what I want to focus on today is you, the relationships that councillors forge with the clerks and the councillors is absolutely vital. I remember that very well, and I still do today. We mustn't underestimate just how important a tight, close, supportive bond there needs to be, and just how vital that is. So thank you for absolutely everything that you do and for the shape that you put into the community around you. It's through that lens that I recall why I took on the role as mayor and chair of my town council back in 2015. And I'm sure one of the great problems that parish and town councils get into sometimes is the lack of focus, the lack of direction sometimes, perhaps engulfed with sometimes sadly disagreements within the councillors themselves, and that can often lead to delivery faltering. And I've got huge empathy with just how challenging and how tough the role of the clerk is. You have to keep so many plates spinning. You have to get things back on track. And I just know how often sometimes it feels as though you don't get that appreciation from the communities you serve. But for those of us that know, trust me, we really, really do appreciate everything that you do. You have to have such an enormous repertoire of skills, from legal knowledge to be a fantastic listening ear, to driving a council in the right strategic direction, and of course, as we just said, bringing councillors all together. So I suspect every one of you that is listening will have a wry smile and the experience of what I've just said. And certainly I did back in 2015 when I agreed to take on that chair of my parish council. For me, I treated it a bit like running a business. That was my background. We needed to have a focus. We needed to have a strategy. We needed to have clear aims and objectives. We'd forgotten who that we served, and we needed to mend a lot of squabbles on the council. We needed to not get bogged down in sometimes the monthly statutory job of dealing with planning applications. We had more of a purpose than just that. So the relationship I forged with my clerk at that time was incredibly strong. I supported her 100% and she supported me 100%. And I think that is so important when you are doing what we're doing. The councillors, the clerks have to work together to support one another. You have to respect the mutual challenges that you get at the grassroots, but all the way up into even government. There are so many challenging times, and it's making sure you support one another, that you get through it. I often say to my wife that I had more sleepless nights and went grayer when I was a mayor than I did as an MP, or I have as an MP. So look, together, forging those key relationships, just, how did we do it? Well, it was those clearly defined objectives and goals that the public elected us, wanted to see us work and deliver on. And I can remember at the time, we ended up with a new town trail. I remember negotiating, trying to put plaques into the ground was probably harder than the Brexit negotiations. It was unbelievably difficult, but we delivered it. We had a wonderful 1940s event, because Sheringham, as you saw at the beginning there, has a nationally recognised 1940s weekend, often in September. And Holt got on the back of that because it was expanding so quickly. And we helped bring people along the steam railway line into Holt, and it was a massive success. You can imagine we had such a difficult time in relocating from our community centre to buying our own building. Our town council owns our own building, and putting our tourist information centre in it. The backlash from the general public about whether we were doing the right thing was huge at the time, but we did that, and we now have our own asset. We won categories in the Britain in Bloom competition. I can remember being so proud driving through the town, and they'd come back from a week of holiday, seeing all the community putting hanging baskets up with plants in red, white and blue all along our wonderful street. And we won competitions for looking the best dressed town in the area. It was a huge, huge achievement that we did. But the nature of politics is that you don't always get every single measure right. That happens. But of course, success breeds camaraderie, it breeds confidence, and it breeds unity. And that's what we achieved when I was mayor, before I went on to other roles in the community. But that message that I've just given there, I think is relevant at all levels, whether it's a county, whether it's a district. And even when I was on the district council back in 2016, I think 2017 time, when we rebuilt the sports complex in Sheringham, to the multi-million-pound sandscaping structure to protect homes around Bacton and Walcott, where we have a site of national significance because there's a huge gas terminal there. It was all about delivery. It was all about working together. And that was absolutely vital. So all this underpins back to the great work that you do at a local level. It's so important. Local government is vital. And it is often why I'm a huge advocate of devolving more and more powers to you at a local level, because you know your areas, better than any of your communities. You are trusted and you are passionate about what you do to help deliver it. And I know on the call that there are some fantastic clerks and councillors who quite literally perform phenomenal roles in the communities you serve in, whether it is from one-off events in the year like the Jubilees that we saw, to just making sure your communities feel special, making them proud and putting them on the map all around the country as you do. Without you and without that sterling work to put in that base level democracy, things just don't happen in your community. So I hope that this feels as that, you know, people here in Parliament, such as myself, really get what you do. We understand why you do it. We know that the satisfaction of helping others, regardless of sometimes the stresses and strains, they are all worth it. And it was with that in mind, helping my community first, that drove me ultimately to end up in Parliament. And I wasn't at the beginning, perhaps wanting to stand to change national legislation, which is, of course, sometimes a passion that comes beset into what some people want to achieve. I simply wanted to serve my constituents and do it with a genuine love and desire to help the area. And I'd openly said when I was selected that I had no interest in serving any other part of the country, only my home. So I rather restricted my chances of becoming an MP other than in North Norfolk. So I just really want to kind of finish up now and just say that, look, as somebody with a real local homegrown connection to, just like so many of you watching, that passion for helping is what inspired me. And I know it essentially drives you too. Everybody has a recollection of a time when, for all the best reasons, maybe it's health and safety or something like that, no matter what you do, the public will criticize you. But I know as an MP, I just keep going. I want to thank you all again. I work every day with countless clerks, parish, district and county councillors to assist constituents. You all equally do so much to keep all of our communities moving in all of the different places around the country that you represent. And I firmly believe that without you, democracy at this base level just would not be what it is. So look, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for Scribefest for putting this together. The program looks really, really fantastic. Have a fantastic meeting. And once again, thank you so much for everything.